Hi folks, John here from Western Sydney Aquarium Plants. Now I received a request to make a video about how do you keep pond plants alive, particularly in winter. If you live in Victoria or New South Wales, the temperature can drop down to 2-3 degrees, and sometimes if you've got a pond in the shade, you might notice that a lot of your pond plants are going to die off, particularly your lilies. They're not really suited for a cold temperature. Now I've had a few ponds in my life, and I've made a lot of mistakes where I've put in expensive plants, lilies. I've put in Anubias, various kinds of plants, just to give the pond a good look for summer. And then come winter, so looking at around June, the plants all tend to die, and in the beginning of spring, the whole thing just smells quite rotten. And so over the years, I've made a lot of mistakes and I've failed forward. Now I'm about to show you guys the technique that I use, and I want to say, full disclosure, this may not work for everybody because your setup might be different. Your pond might be in partial shade, or it might be in full shade. You might have less water in the setup that I have, and all of these factors that do impact on whether the temperature is going to be right. So, but this is what I use. What I do is I get a clear tarp like this, okay, and you can buy them from Amazon, you can buy them from Bunnings. You've got to make sure with the tarp that it is clear, because it needs to let light in. And underneath the tarp, I put some pool noodle there. And the reason being is, again, not a scientist or anything like that. I'm hoping that the sun will shine through, create a bit of heat, and then create a warm air pocket, which will be then reabsorbed into the water column, and it will heat the water up. And so underneath the setup that I've got going, and I've been doing this for a number of years, and most of my plants have survived. Maybe they're going to be a little bit sickly looking, but they will survive and be ready for summer, so that you don't have to replant everything. So we'll take the tarp off. Okay, let's have a look underneath. Very graceful with this. All right. So the next thing you need is a water pump. So we've got a fountain in here, and the fountain itself basically moves the water around. The benefit of that is in winter, some of your plants are going to start to die. That's just a natural thing. A lot of us grow tropical or subtropical plants. They will start to die because of the cold. So you're going to get a lot of decay and rotten, and that could kill all the other plants as well. So you want to get a nice filter, and I tend to use a solar powered filter, okay, because I want to keep things nice and cheap. So this will keep the tank nice and clean by circulating the water. It's got filter material in the fountain. It'll just pick up all the detritus that are just floating around and keep the water nice and fresh. And also it shoots the water up. So from underneath the tarp, the water's going to shoot up, get warmed up, create a warm air pocket, and then recirculate down. The other thing that I've used due to sort of trial and error is a solar powered aerator. That's it right there. Okay, and you can see it's hanging off the side of the fence. And what the aerator does, based on my research on Reddit, but for me it's mostly about making a lot of mistakes and finding out, in my view, it creates a fair bit of agitation in the water. And if you have a big tank, if you have a big setup like this, you need to probably have 4 or 5 of these guys going in here. And if you can get a float, try to have it on the surface. This agitation will create evaporation. It'll evaporate some of the water, and because it's under the tarp, the sun will come in, heat the water up, and then that'll be, you know, pushed back down, and that'll just recirculate and keep the tank a little bit warmer over the winter months. So folks, this is what I do to keep the plants, you know, alive. You know, you're in April, May, June. You know, for me, the plants have been alive. They will look a little bit manky, or a little bit sickly. You know, if you look at this, where's a good example? You know, let's look at this plant here. You can see it looks a bit sickly, okay? But not everything will look sickly. The main point is it's likely that the plants will survive. So what do you need? High quality filter to keep the tank, the water nice and the pond water nice and crisp, because it filters most of the floating detritus. You need aerators, you know, I'll probably put, you know, 4 or 5 in here before June, and then you cover the pond. And you want to keep a clear tarp because you still want the plant to be able to photosynthesize and grow. And the pool noodle just creates that space between the water column and the tarp so that the water can be warmed up. Okay folks, so this is what I do to keep my plants alive in winter. And the water's going to be a little bit warmer, so it even helps the fish. Okay, now I've linked the products that I use, you know, down in the description. Have a read of it. If you have any questions, feel free to write in the comments, and I'm more than happy to respond. Thanks.